What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm gonna break down my first ever pro solo Hyrox simulation that I did this past weekend in Windsor, Ontario, where I'm from. It was a super awesome week. I can't wait to share all the fun stuff that I did. But before we do that, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm excited to be diving into this Hyrox stuff before I run another marathon. I'm gonna try to document the process a little bit more, show you guys some inside looks at what it's like to train for your first Hyrox, go through that whole process, compete, all that fun stuff. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of those videos coming up. But super happy. I finished the full Hyrox sim with a time of 2:09:27, which I was very, very pleased with. Going into this, I didn't really have too much of an expectation of where I would finish. I've done a full simulation at the open weight before in a gym, which wasn't exactly as close to what Hyrox would look like in a Hyrox race. Being joined by a friend. But this one in Windsor was, given the fact that it was done on a field, the runs were done around the track, so there was a bit of a transition zone, or what you would call a rock zone. So it was as close as you probably could get to what an actual Hyrox event is going to look like. So I was really happy with pulling off a 2:09:27. So I'm going to take you through the day. The pro solo heat went off at 7 a.m., so it was early. Used to early races with marathon training or marathon running, so it wasn't that big of a deal. I did a little bit of a carb load and pre-fueling because obviously fuel is super important. So I think, the day before I probably consumed around 350, 400 grams of carbs. And then the morning of, I had like my typical race day morning meal where I did, some toast with peanut butter, honey, banana, 2 scoops of Tailwind, which is about 50 grams of carbs. And then about 20 minutes before the race, I did a gel, 30 grams of carbs. And then I took 1 gel during the actual race itself. I preloaded with a bunch of electrolytes leading into the race because it's been so hot lately. Luckily, the weather was beautiful, perfect, not humid. The sun wasn't out too much because we just started early. So overall temperature, great. Fueling went well, no issues with the gut throughout the whole race. That's something that I've been training a ton with marathon running. So I'm not surprised that that stuff goes fine for me, which is why I always push people to practice their fueling, figure out what works for them. But getting into the race, the main thing I wanted to get out of this was to get a sense for what things were going to feel like with the running. So obviously I've run fast before, when I look at some of my times, like I've run a sub 25K, I've run a sub 40 10K, I've run a 129 half, I've run a 310 marathon. So like running faster paces is not necessarily something that I haven't done before, but running these paces in Hyrox is a totally different thing with the station. So that's what I kind of wanted to go out and figure out in this race. So my goal was to run no slower than a 4:30 per kilometer pace for most of the runs, which I accomplished for the most part. I think 2 of my 8 kilometers that we run total were just under 4:30. The rest were 4:30 and under. So really, really happy with that. So when we look at the opening kilometer, the heat that I was in, I knew we were going to come out hot. I think that just happens. The one thing is I know myself enough now to know where my line is, and I felt fine with coming out a little bit faster on this kilometer. I think we clocked the first kilometer at like a 3:55, which was cool. Going into the first station, which is the ski, I knew that I didn't want to blow myself up. The ergs are not probably a place where I'm going to gain that much time on people. So I just wanted to be smooth, maintain a good pace. My goal is to finish the ergs, so the ski and the rower in about 4 minutes, which I did. I think I came in at like a 4:02 or something like that on the ski erg. Got out for that second run. My first 4 kilometers of running were faster probably than I was aiming for, but I was kind of feeling it out and just trying to get a sense for where that was at. I think I ran a 4:06 on the second kilometer, which for me, I think is the goal that I want to get to for Hyrox Toronto is being able to consistently hit like a 4:05 to 4:15 pace on the runs. I think it's doable. That didn't happen in this race, but I do think it's something I can train and get better for Toronto. The second station is the sled push. The sled push and pull are things that are a strong suit for me. I'm a stronger athlete, playing football growing up. I still have a lot of that strength. Something that doesn't necessarily help me when I'm trying to run a sub 3 hour marathon, but will benefit me in something like Hyrox. However, it's heavy, so I was a little bit concerned about like what is it going to feel like to push the sled and run and all that stuff. But honestly, the sled felt pretty good. I went into it trying not to blow my legs up. I've heard other people talk about like overdoing it on the sled, blowing their legs up, and then not being able to run for the rest of the race. So anytime I kind of felt like what you would call like lactic acid, so to speak, building up, or your quads getting really like fatigued, I would just take a little rest, pause, take a couple breaths, shake the legs out, push the sled again. So really happy with the sled. I think I did the sled push in just under 2 minutes, like a 1:59 or a 2, which was pretty solid. Then that next kilometer was a 4:13 kilometer, so still holding like pretty good paces. And at this point, although I just pushed the sled, I'm still feeling good. I don't think the race really starts till you get to those dreaded burpee broad jumps, but that next kilometer felt strong, got into the sled pull. The sled pull was great. Apparently myself and my friend Mason, who I was racing, and he was the one that won, we were one length short of the sled pull, which I didn't think we were, but apparently we were. Good learning experience, because when we comes to Hyrox, I've heard that like they'll probably just give you a penalty on this. They won't really tell you if you miss a sled pull, whatever. So just a thing for me to be a little bit more aware of. In this case, what they made us do was they came to us on the rower and told us that this had happened. So what we did was we did an extra sled pull length just before the farmer's carry, which honestly was probably harder than just getting a penalty. But the sled pull felt really good. Came off the sled pull. I think I did in about 2:02, 2:03, then got into that next run. That next run was a 4:21. Still feeling really good on these runs. Obviously the pace is coming down, but at this point I was trying to like just not kill myself. Could I have pushed the pace a little bit faster? Yes. And now that I've done a full race, I probably would have, but again, I was trying to find this balance of like, where can I run but not put myself in this compromising position to not be strong towards the end of the race. So felt good with the 4:21, came into the burpee broad jump, which is where things really started to get real. Now, I felt like the burpee broad jumps went well for me. I hate burpees. I don't think anyone really likes it, but it's just hard not to jack your heart rate up doing these. For me, I tried to pace it the best I could. I learned a little bit about technique. I learned a little bit about timing. So like when you're jumping, make sure you're jumping far enough so you don't have to do an extra burpee before the line. Just little things like that I could clean up to, one, make that station more efficient and quicker, and two, probably not tire myself out as much. But I think I did the burpees in about 4:39. That next run, though, after the burpees is where I started to really feel the effects of all the stations. And I think it's because the burpee broad jumps just really jack your heart rate up. So that first 500 meters post burpee broad jump was brutal. I felt like, holy hell, this is going to be a grind to finish this out. But after that 500 meters, my body kind of started coming back to life, which is cool because like I'm still running relatively hard. And I think like all of the endurance training that I've done over the last 4 years puts me in a really good position to have success in Hyrox, because my body can, I wouldn't say recover, but it can withstand the running at faster paces and have it not be redline at paces that are competitive, which excites me. I think obviously there still needs to be some improvement in these paces, which I will improve on them. But really happy with that. After the after the burpee broad jump, I'm pretty sure we did the row. So again, on the skier or on the ergs, I was trying to just maintain good pace, not kill myself. I'm a strong rower for the most part. I think I probably could go a little faster on the station in the future, but I think I ended up doing 4 minutes. I was pulling around 2 minute per 500, more just trying not to destroy myself. Again, getting a sense for like what does this race feel like, and knowing that the back half of the race is going to be a big challenge. I felt good about that row. My next kilometer off the row was a 4:36, so that's the first one that I had under a 4:30 per kilometer. At this point, I was in second place, and I was racing my friend Mason, and he was pretty well out in front of me. Like, in my mind, I knew that I probably wasn't going to catch him if he just maintained what he was doing. I didn't want to compromise myself and try to bridge the gap on any of these stations, especially the row or the run, because I was worried that it would just blow myself up and then it wouldn't end well for me. So these are the cool things about doing something like Hyrox, where you actually are racing people more. There's kind of some things and tactics you got to think about, and in my head, I just didn't think it was worth it to like super push. And honestly, even if I did push, I don't think I would have ended up catching him. The next station was the farmer carry. So we had to do a sled pull before the farmer carry, which, isn't easy, gasses your grip out. But then the farmer carry was another thing where like 70 pounds per hand is not light, if anyone's ever done farmer carries. So I didn't really know how this was going to go towards the end of the race. There wasn't any chalk because they weren't allowed to have chalk on the football field, which was sad because I was sweating so much. Everything was so slippery. I think there's some improvement I need to make on like my grip strength. But overall, actually, these farmer carries felt really good. I tried to break them up more than I thought, just to not overdo myself, but I would like put them down, pick them up right away, keep it moving as smoothly as I could. So really happy with that. I think I did the farmer carries in 4:30. Then my next kilometer was a 4:31 per kilometer, so I got back to like a decent pace. I was feeling much better running off the farmer carries. Obviously, it's not as taxing as like a row, but after the farmer carries is when I think you really get into you do get into the back half of the race. That I think the back half of the race is a mental and physical grind. You go run, lunge, run, wall ball. So heading into the lunges, the lunge is something that I know crushes a lot of people, and so I was curious to see how it felt for me. The weight isn't significantly heavy for me. Like 65 pounds is not light, but it's not like this drastically heavy weight. But after doing all of this stuff, it's like, how is your body going to respond to this? I was very, very happy with how the lunges felt. Again, tons of room for improvement, but they felt lighter than I thought. I was moving at a smoother pace. The one thing that did happen, and again, this is the good thing about doing these to get a sense for how things are supposed to feel in a race. Probably around like the second length of the lunges, I started to feel like my quads wanting to cramp. They were kind of like warning me at the top of each rep, and I almost like couldn't stop. Like if I stopped, I was definitely gonna maybe cramp. So I kind of had to keep it moving. But in that moment, I felt like, okay, I could cramp here, but I'm just going to keep being consistent. And after I got through that length, but probably by like the second length or a little over halfway through the lunges, that cramping feeling kind of just went away. And I was able to continue on with the lunges. I actually probably finished stronger than I started on those lunges, and probably has something to do with coming off the run and lunging and all that stuff. But I think the good thing about doing these tests is you get to understand how your body responds and feels in these moments and what that means. So a lot of times I find when people are pushing really hard, whether it be threshold runs or something like the lunges off in the Hyrox, it's like you start to feel like your quads are going to cramp and you start to panic and you either slow down, stop, but in reality, what is going to happen? And that's why doing these tests are good, because it lets me know like, okay, this is what I'm going to feel. But if I keep moving and keep maintaining this, it actually got better and I was able to, move through it fine. It's almost just like a warning sign that I need to learn to lean into, which I'll now take into my training and apply when I'm pushing these hard workouts when they're prescribed. That like, if I start to feel that, I'm probably going to push into that and see how my body responds. And ideally my body adapts to that, gets stronger, gets fitter, so that it translates over to the race. After the lunges, I think I did my run was a 4:38, which would have been the last run before the wall balls. So I knew that I was going to go into the wall balls, and it was going to be challenging. I haven't trained the wall balls a lot. I've been running marathons. I've been not doing wall balls consistently consistently since I was doing CrossFit in 2018. I knew the stimulus was not something I was completely trained for. There's big opportunity for me to improve there. So I knew on the run, like, I'm not going to just go out and send like a 4-minute per kilometer for nothing, because I'm just going to get to the wall balls and they're probably going to crush me, which they did. But pretty happy with being able to maintain a 4:38 coming into the wall balls. Now, wall balls are something that I plan on mastering. I didn't have a lot of time to train this. I think I can get much better at them. It took me about 6 minutes and 55 seconds to get through the wall ball station, which bothers me, but there will be improvements made. Again, I just didn't have time to train it the way that I want to do bigger sets. This is a lot of volume. 100 wall balls is a ton. If anyone's ever done wall balls in a workout before, doing 100 at the end of all this stuff with a 20-pound wall ball is very heavy. So I look forward to getting better at this, training this stimulus, being able to take on bigger chunks, bigger sets, becoming more efficient at the wall ball itself. I think there's tons of opportunity there. Even if I cut my wall ball time down to like 4 minutes, which I think is doable, like with training and practice and fitness, like that's going to significantly improve my overall time. On top of like all the other little things that I can tweak, running a little bit faster, getting a little bit more fitter, being a little more efficient on station. So I think there's a lot of room to improve on this time, which excites me. But the wall balls, I tried to go in and do like as big of sets as I could. So I think I went in and did like a set of 25, a set of 20. And then at that point, I was just kind of trying to hang on to like 10s or 15s and kind of just chip away, try to take as little rest as I could. But towards the end, I was hurting. I'm not going to lie, as you would expect. But I think there is a lot of opportunity even for me to just improve that section, to improve my overall Hyrox performance, which again, excites me. So the next 11 weeks of training, we're going to get those wall balls nailed down. But overall, super stoked about this. I had a ton of fun. Like, Hyrox is something that I've been wanting to get into for a couple years now. Been kind of watching from a distance, been focused on marathon training. Now with like coming off injury and some opportunity to take a shot at it, I'm really excited for the next 11 weeks of training. And this is why I encourage people to push themselves, compete, have fun, find something that motivates them to train, because I'm so looking forward to the next 11 weeks of getting better at this event and going and testing that in Toronto. So if you guys are curious to see what that journey looks like, subscribe to the channel, follow along. I'm doing another half Hyrox in reverse, actually. Shout out to Holistic, Mike and Maria, who are my coaches. They're putting on this event in Burlington. So it's a half Hyrox in reverse. So you start with the wall balls, you finish with the ski and the run. So this will be fun. The volume is half of what I did in this past event, so should feel a lot less in terms of the volume of work, but the intensity is probably going to be ramped up a little bit. So that'll be a ton of fun. But shout out to my guy Mason, who's a friend of mine. We played football together for many years on the field that we actually went and competed against each other on. He ended up winning the event, which was awesome. He crushed it. Super stoked for him. But it's really funny to see things come full circle, connect with him, and ideally we continue to push each other in this sport. So that was really fun. Shout out to my guy Gideon for putting on this event. It was great. First time they put it on, obviously they're learning a lot about how to run an event like this. It is not easy. Like, I put on like small seminar events. To put on something as big as this is not easy, and I think they did a really good job. Obviously they're always looking for feedback, and I think there'll be things that they can improve on to make this event, better, and get more people out and make it something that's legit, because the setup was great. Being able to run around the track and the field, coming onto the field to do all the workouts. The vibe was great. It was a beautiful day. Great music, tons of energy. So if you guys are looking for a Hyrox event, make sure you check out their Instagram, their website. Stay tuned for if they have any other events coming up. But that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you're pushing yourself. I hope you're getting after it. I hope you're competing. I think competing is very important for us to do even as we get older. I think we remove this from our life, especially if we move on from sport. Don't remove it. Find a place to be competitive with yourself and also against other people, man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with pushing against other people to try to get the best out of yourself. I highly, highly encourage you guys to do that, and I hope you guys are digging deep. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.